Okay, this is a recording for group number 1 in the AM, and their project is about episode 9, which is about the economic bust following the boom of the 1920s. Specifically, this group will be working on chapter 3, which was about the Dust Bowl. And they will be doing their presentation on April 13th, Wednesday. Our big idea is we will talk about different environmental problems in our 6 countries. The form of our presentation will be like a TV show. Lisa will act for the TV show, and she'll do the introduction and conclusion. Tanya will act as the reporter on the street. So, once again, Lisa will act as the host. That's better. Lisa will act as the host for the TV show, and she'll do the introduction and the conclusion. Tanya will act as the reporter on the street, and she will interview people walking on the street who will talk about their own countries. Marcos and Carolina will act as a couple. Dina will be a lady who is in a hurry going to work. Tracy and Chiho are shopping. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lisa. We are the 3rd group. Our topic is about the Dust Bowl. Because people changed the Great Plains from tall, grassy land to farmland, the dust storms frequently happened in the 1930s. This was a typical problem caused by the destruction of the environment. Although the Dust Bowl and dust storms were a serious environmental problem in American history, which plagued nearly 75% of the United States and compounded the problems of the economic depression, few people have noticed this problem and learned anything from it today. The same or similar environmental problems still occur at different times in different countries. Today our group will be in the form of a TV program to illustrate problems in the environment today in the world. Before our TV program begins, let me introduce our team members and their acting roles. Tanya acts as a reporter. Marcus and Carolina play a couple who will be interviewed first. Dina is next and will be interviewed while she is walking to work. The last interviewees are Chiho and Tracy, who will be shopping. Okay, let's start. Please enjoy. Thank you, Lisa. I am in Times Square now, the busiest part of New York City. Let's ask pedestrians from all parts of the world what they know about environmental problems in their countries. Good morning, guys. How are you doing? My name is Tatiana Kozyreva. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Kozyreva. As you see on this big screen, we are live on CNN. Or maybe you can say HHN for Hartley House News. As you see on the big screen, we are live on HHN for Hartley House News. We don't actually need 4. As you see on this big screen, we are live on HHN, Hartley House News. Millions of Americans are watching us now, so I hope you have a few minutes to answer my questions. What is your name? Where are you from? And do you know what causes environmental problems in your country? For example, in the country where I was born, in Ukraine, significant environmental problems are air, water, and land pollution. An industrial and intensely farmed country contains some of the most polluted landscapes in Eastern Europe. Pollution became evident in Ukraine with industrial development in the 19th century. Do you have something similar in your countries? Hi. In Colombia, the weather conditions right now have been changing. We are going through a difficult time where the temperatures continue to rise, and as a result, our rivers have dried up. Forest fires have increased, and the mangroves, the small trees that grow in coastal saltwater, have been under attack. In addition, the population in the different areas in my country has started to suffer the consequences. They are threatened by a lack of food and water. The food that people do find in the market is extremely expensive. Moreover, this has been a terrible hit to the economy. The Colombian peso has dipped to its lowest value. All these problems together are very sad. I think this is the moment for people to really become aware of the environment, its importance, and our deep connection to it. The Amazon rainforest is disappearing. I think Marcos should introduce himself. Same thing here. Carol, ready. So, hi. I am Carol. And in Colombia, and in my country, Colombia. So the intro here would be, hi, I am Carol, and in my country, Colombia, the weather conditions right now, and let's go to Marcos. Hi, thank you. My name is Marcos, and I am from Brazil. Hi, thank you. My name is Marcos, and I am from Brazil. The Amazon rainforest is disappearing at an alarming rate. Once, it covered 14% of the Earth's surface, and now only 6%. Experts estimate it could disappear within only 40 years. The Amazon rainforest is vanishing at the rate of 200,000 square miles a year. The main reasons for the vanishing rainforest include commercial logging, cattle grazing, farming, road building, hydroelectric dams, and mining operations. Among the major consequences of Amazon rainforest deforestation we find soil erosion, water and air pollution, the release of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, loss of biodiversity by extinction of plants and animals, malarial epidemics, and widespread flooding. Simple and easy steps to help preserve the rainforest: buy only sustainable and environmentally friendly products. Help to create a market for and demand for sustainable rainforest products. Thank you, Carol and Marcos. It was nice to have you here. And how about you? My name is Tatiana Kozyrieva. I am presenting for HHN. By the way, I love your hijab. It is colorful and pretty. Where are you from? And what do the words environmental problem mean to you? Do you have any of these in your country? Hi, thank you for the compliments. Thank you for the compliments. I'm Dina, and I am from Egypt. The Nile River is the longest river in the world and flows from lakes. The longest river in the world and flows from lakes in Central Africa to the Mediterranean Sea. As Egypt is the gift of the Nile, cities and citizens of Egypt depend on it for the primary daily source of water for industrial and agricultural needs. Drinking, and daily use. Egypt faces an annual water deficit of around 20 billion cubic meters. Besides the population growth and lack of water, there is a huge danger from water pollution. The Nile faces daily pollution problems. There are several sources of pollution into the Nile, including industrial waste and chemical fertilizer. Okay, so there's several. That means no and here. Including industrial waste, chemical fertilizer residue from agricultural applications, and oil pollution. Many factories get rid of their waste by casting it into the river. Farmers clean their animals in the river. These customs can cause the spread of disease. There is another problem Egypt may suffer from. Nearly 90% of the Nile's volume comes from the highlands of Ethiopia and passes through 11 countries. Ethiopia is now building a huge dam. This dam will be a catastrophe for Egypt, which could end up losing 60% of its agricultural land and will put the lives of 90 million Egyptians at risk. Egyptians will need to learn how to manage their water resources better, as there is no political solution. Good morning, girls. How are you? Today I am here in Times Square as a correspondent for HHN, posing questions to people passing by. I see you are involved in the most important business for all women in the world. I mean shopping. But probably you have a bit of time to give me a blitz interview. Do you have environmental problems in your countries? And by the way, what are your names and where are you from? Hi, Tatiana. I'm from Japan. I have never forgotten about the terrible disaster in Japan. On March 11th, 2011, a magnitude 9.0 earthquake ravaged the northern part of Japan, unleashing a savage tsunami which was caused by the great earthquake. The effect of this earthquake was felt around the world, from Norway's fjord to Antarctica's ice sheets. Tsunami debris continued to wash up on North American beaches even 2 years later. At that time, I was working in my office in Tokyo, which is 200 miles away from the center of the shock. I felt a big swing, and items dropped from my desk and the shelf. The subways, trains, and buses stopped working. So many people were forced to stay in their offices. Otherwise, people had to go back home on foot. The number of confirmed deaths is about 16,000 people. Most people died by drowning, and about 6,000 people were injured. More than 2,500 people are still missing. Residents are still recovering from the disaster. Radioactive water was discovered leaking from the Fukushima nuclear power plant, which suffered a level 7 nuclear meltdown after the tsunami. 5 years after the earthquake, about 230,000 people who lost their homes are still now living in temporary housing. The total damages from the earthquake and tsunami is estimated at $300 billion. It was the most powerful earthquake and tsunami ever recorded to have hit Japan. Thank you for your question, Tatiana. My, you are so pretty. I come from China. Before I moved to New York, I lived in Beijing, the capital city. I believe that some people have heard of the terrible air pollution. The terrible air pollution in Beijing. I would like to show you a picture. Beijing has had an extremely high level of smog in recent years. Smog is a kind of air pollution originally named for the mixture of smoke and fog in the air. When smog comes, as in this picture, you can see the city's color is gray. The sky is not blue. When the smog comes and I'm driving to work in the morning, I can't even see the car in front of me clearly. So I had to drive slowly. Where are we? Okay, sorry about that. So I can't even, we should make this all past tense. Okay, when the smog came and I was driving to work in the morning, I couldn't even see the car in front of me clearly, so I had to drive slowly. When smog comes, children have to stay indoors. Right, this is okay because this was talking about you when you were in Beijing, so that's why it's past tense. Now we're switching back to present tense because it's the life of people who live in Beijing. When smog comes, children have to stay indoors. When smog comes, if people go outside, they need to take a 3M respirator to wear outside. You know, the air purifier is basic for each family, rather than the an air purifier. Why is the smog so terrible? Because it has reached 2.5 micron size of particulate matter. These are harmful microscopic particles that penetrate deep into the lungs. After many years, people may suffer from lung cancer or other lung diseases. The Chinese government has tried to previously limit car usage and restricted industrial activity to try and control air quality. In the picture, in November last year, there were only 3 days. Okay, in the picture in November last year. So this picture shows 3 different days? Because that's what you're saying here. You're saying this picture shows 3 separate days. And the grammar is correct, but I don't know what the picture looks like. So in the picture in November last year, there were only 3 days people could enjoy the blue sky. Thank you, Tracy and Chiho. I just want to add that nuclear contamination in Ukraine resulted from the 1986 Chernobyl accident. 1/10 of Ukraine's land area was affected by the radiation. According to UN reports, approximately 1 million people were exposed to unsafe levels of radiation through the consumption of food. I would like to now remind our viewers that today we've talked about environmental problems in the world. We've interviewed 5 people from 5 different countries: Colombia, Brazil, Egypt, Japan, and China. And we found out what people of Times Square know about the causes of environmental problems in their countries, and also how they cope with these problems. This is Tatiana Kozurieva reporting for HHN. Conclusion. With the development of the global economy, environmental pollution is becoming more and more serious. The Earth is our home, the only one we have. We should take immediate action, beginning with ourselves, to protect the environment and reduce wasting natural resources. Thank you for your patience and for listening to our presentation. We hope we have given you something to think about.